Hey guys, so finally here. So this is my, can I say, outfit of the day? Yeah. So in today's video, because I don't have any clients, we are going to try and learn something. So the first thing you're going to learn about is family planning, because we have a lot of myths about family planning. People come telling you something that you know that's just a myth. That is just something people say about maybe a certain method, but then you realize it's because they don't have the information. So let's try and learn something. Yeah. So I'll get some of these items. So the first one I'm going to start with is coil. Coil is the IUCD. I know most of you guys know it by the name coil, because if you come and tell someone IUCD, they'll be like, what is IUCD? So yeah, coil. We're going to start with the coil. First of all, this thing is not as big as people usually say it is. Like, this is just it. Like, maybe I think it might look that. Let me show you. Like, this is just it. This isn't even the size of like half my finger. Like, this is it. So at times when someone comes to the clinic, they'll be like, I can't, like, you can't insert that coil. Like, I usually hear people say the coil is as big as, I don't know, a pen. And see this string that usually left behind. So another thing that most ladies say is that they've heard that whenever you have sex, the man is able to feel this string during sex. Like, I've even heard a lady say that this string kinda ties the penis and kind of tries to cut it. Like, what the heck? What the heck is like, you've never heard it before, but only because someone has told you such kind of a thing, you just go ahead and believe it. Like, that is so not true. So it becomes smooth, like it just kind of imitates the body, like, if you're getting me, like it becomes smooth, so the man cannot even be able to feel it. Like, they can't feel it. So I'm not going to say much about that, but just know it's not true. Most of those things are not true. So when it comes to inserting it, so this is it. This is the copper tin. So there's a certain tube that's usually inserted until this point. So we're going to use this. So if you see, when you insert it inside the vagina, it has to go up to the upper walls. Let me show you that. So you'll use this to kind of push it up like that. Yep. And then it will be left up there, something like that. It doesn't attach so well, but yeah, it looks like that. Yep. And so the other thing is about how it works. So you find that the copper IUCD, it acts by reducing fertilization. That is by reducing the amount of sperms that moves towards the ovum and reducing the number of the ovum from reaching the uterus. So it prevents that, and that is why most of the time they usually want to make sure that you're not pregnant, because something like IUCD can lead to ectopic pregnancy, and this is whereby the fetus, instead of growing on the lines of the uterus, it ends up growing somewhere else, like the fallopian tube, and that can be very, very dangerous. And that is why most of the time they'll tell you, next time if you want to insert the IUCD, make sure you come with your periods. You come when you're on your period. It usually prevents you from pregnancy like 10 years. We have some that are for 8 years and some that are for 12 years. So within 8 to 12 years, you have because you usually have different types of the IUCD. And then after the, let's say, 10 years, you have to like change and get the IUCD. You need to be really clean. Like, make sure you take a shower every day, make sure you are always clean, because there's chances of getting vaginal infections if you are not maintaining your hygiene. And then after the insertion, another thing that you should be doing is checking it. So the way that you check it, you wash your hands, make sure that your hands are clean. Then you go, maybe you're seated in the toilet or you just squat, and then you insert your finger and try and feel the threads. So you should, like when you insert your finger high, you should be able to feel the threads, but then you should not feel the copper, or you should not feel like the threads are displaced. So if you are able to feel that copper with your finger, or if you're able to feel like the thread is longer than it was before, then that means it has been misplaced, like displaced, I mean. So that means you should go and get it checked. Like they usually do a speculum for them to be able to check it if it has been displaced, because if it has been displaced, that means it's not actually working. One is the implant. So this here is the Sino implant. It's usually for 3 years. So after 3 years, you remove it and then you insert another one. Or you can also remove it when you have side effects like extreme abdominal pain and there's a lot of bleeding. You can be able to remove it and try another method. Like it is not like a must for you to use a method really because you saw your mother using it, you saw your sister using it. Like if a method usually works for different people in different ways. So if you find a certain method is not working for you, you can always try another method. And you don't just judge because of what you hear people say, because you might want to insert an implant because people say it is safer, and maybe with the Depo you'll bleed, but maybe for you Depo you won't bleed, but then with implant you are actually bleeding a lot. So this is implant. Usually have the one for 5 years and the one for 3 years. Before, the one for 3 years used to be only one rod, but nowadays we even have the one for 3 years with 2 rods. Most of the time the one for 5 years usually are not 2 rods, usually 2 rods. Then we also have the combined oral pills. So the pills, as you can see, it's from, you take it from day 1 to day 21, and then you rest for 7 days, and then you come back for the next cycle. Most of the time usually also have the other one that is for 20 days, but then the 7 days are usually iron tablets that just boost your the blood levels. Then the other one you have is the Depo injection. So yeah, this is the other one that has a lot of can I say, let me just continue saying myths, that has a lot of myths. People say, oh, you'll get fat, I don't know what will happen to you. Though it is true that like we have seen like a very big percentage of women adding weight with the Depo, and also having an increase in their blood pressure from using Depo. Like the side effects happen on some people and not on some people, but then if the side effects has happened to you, that means you can be able to change to other methods. Like if your blood pressure has increased, like if your blood pressure has increased to levels whereby you have been told you cannot use it, please don't use it. Because at times you'd tell someone your blood pressure is so high you cannot continue using Depo, but then they'll be like, it's okay, and then they go to another place. So as I was saying, it affects what it does, it affects milk production. So let me give you an example. Like if you see here, after delivery and you're breastfeeding, using combined oral, that is the pills that are combined with estrogen and progesterone, for that means you should not use it, because there's a way that it affects milk production, and that means the baby will not be able to breastfeed enough here. So you should be able to know like which, not even a condition, which situation are you in right now, because not all of them are conditions that can enable you to use a certain method at a certain time. Yeah. So if you hear all that singing, it just shows you it's a Sunday. We're working on a Sunday, yeah. That is why you hear people singing, people praying. Yeah, it's the vibe. So if you got any question, you can ask me down in the comment section. Like, I think for me, the best part of nursing has always been health education. Like if someone could tell me that the only job I have is just to talk and I won't do any other work like treat or dress or I don't know why, but not in a bad way, but I'm not usually so much inclined into being a clinical nurse. Like, it's not my thing. The thing that discouraged me is when we were still in college, they used to say the student has to work. So if you're the student, you work the most. So like you'd work with even 40 patients on a night shift, and that just made me hate being a clinical nurse. But not that I can't do it, I can do it, but I just don't prefer it. Okay, the other thing I'm going to talk about, when you work in a small clinic or a chemist, you realize that self-prescription is something that is the talk of the day. Like, people just prescribe their own drugs according to what they think they have. Like, someone would wake up in the morning and they feel tired, and then they'll just come and tell you, I want malarial drugs. Like, you got a malaria and paid malaria. They're like, so how are you sure you have malaria? Like, have you been tested? Like, I haven't been tested, but I know this is how malaria feels, so you paid malaria. And you feel like, why don't you take paracetamol and see how that takes you? And then by the end of the day, or let's start by testing you for malaria first. The people are like, no, I'm very sure I have malaria. So it's either you give it to them or you sell it to them, or they'll go and find it like from another place. Someone will come and they have headache, and then they're like, I want to buy Flagyl. Like, Flagyl is not for headache in the first place. And like, why don't you try and tell me what the problem is, so that I can know the medication to give you? But then people are like, I need what I want to buy what I want to buy. Like, self-prescription is just terrible. And then people will just want to make you feel like you don't know what you're doing. Like, they're the professionals. Yeah, it's so weird, especially if you are kind of small body. People look at you and think you don't know what you're doing, and they're more experienced. I don't know, it's experience from being sick in some kind of way. Like, it's just terrible. Another thing is about the mindset. So you find people usually have a certain mindset when it comes to even the type of medication. Let me give you an example here. There's this drug, same one, Flagyl. So most people usually know Flagyl with the color, like, it is usually this yellowish color, you see? Yeah. So most people usually know this is Flagyl. So when they want Flagyl, you must give them a yellow medication. Okay. And then you find that recently, not even this one, at least this one is yellow. There was another one that came in such sachets, but then it was white in color. Like, they'll tell you that is not Flagyl. Like, I want Flagyl. Flagyl is small tablets that are yellow in color. If you don't have that one, I'm not taking it. That is not Flagyl. No matter how, and then the fact that you find like something like Flagyl, it has been written metronidazole. So for them, they're like, this is metronidazole, this is not Flagyl. And they're like, man, I'm the one who went to school. I'm the one who's telling you metronidazole is Flagyl. And they're like, no, Flagyl has to be written Flagyl. I'm like, okay, I don't have Flagyl then. I think I don't have Flagyl. You can go and look for Flagyl from another place. I'm telling you, this thing called the mindset can kill us Africans. Like, mindset, like someone will come and tell you, I'm not feeling well, but then you say, and then they'll tell you, like, for me, the only thing that can make me feel better is an injection. I'm like, you don't have to go to an injection straight away. You can start with oral drugs first. Like, the Kenyans just want what they want. Like, they want you to give them an IV medication for something that can be treated by oral drugs. Sometimes, most people usually do, they'll even inject you like water for injection. This is just water, and then you inject them that water, and they'll be like, oh, now I feel better. They're like, really? Well, it's just a perception that they think when they injected something that is flowing through their veins, that is when they get better. Like, it's all mindset. And then, one reason as to why nowadays we have antibiotic resistance, that even when you're sick and we're given antibiotics, they won't work, is because we are so used to taking antibiotics. Like, someone will come and tell you, there's a friend of mine who told me when she was sick, she took a certain medication that was brown and yellow, and after taking that medication, she felt better, and that thing just went away. Nzuri. 600. Namba ya simu ni Santi. So as I was saying, they'd come and tell you, they'd come and tell you, there's a friend of mine who told me they took a certain medication, it was yellow and brown, and that medication worked for them. And I'm like, then what is your problem in the first place? I have an headache. I'm like, if you're saying about brownish yellow, maybe you're saying about amoxicillin. That is an antibiotic. Why do you need to take an antibiotic if you're not sure if you have a bacterial infection? And they're like, that is what I have to take. Like, and then they want to buy for 10 shillings. They just want like 2 capsules. They think that will work. And you're like, damn, now this is where everything messes up. Because if you refuse to give them, they'll go and get it somewhere else. Sometimes you just say, I can't sell antibiotic. You have to give a dose. You have to give a full dose, so you can't sell. Like, then they'll go and get it from somewhere else. The next time they come and they have that infection and they give them the same antibiotic, that antibiotic won't work. And the problem is that they do this even to their kids. So you have a kid who has a bacterial infection, but most of the antibiotics won't work because they were given so many of these even when they had headache, when they had fever, just antibiotic, and they're like. So right now it's 11 a.m. and I'm already hungry. Now I'm telling you, the fact that you just have to sit down and wait for clients, you get hungry so fast. So like, I'm going to try and make some tea. Jeez, how do you put used matches inside the plate? Oh god. I'm telling you, it's only in a hospital whereby you find brufen tins for sugar and such kind of things. Yeah, it is just a norm of the day anyways.